All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for liking, comment, subscribing, hitting the notification bell. I have a nasty one for you, but it's all natural and we all do this. You know, the reasons why I refuse to do rideshare service, if I do, it's going to be a rented vehicle in case, you know, things happen like this, like we're about to get into. Shout out to the Asian conundrum, because this is where I saw the video at and I would like to credit them. But let's take a look at what happens, or the things that you don't suspect when you do rideshare service as a side income.
我他妈跑你妈几十年、几年的出租车了，我把死在车子上。你们说这个事情啷个弄？
Huh. And see, that's the thing. If you're doing rideshare service, you should be carrying some kind of kit or something with you. But then you don't expect this. And then if you're doing rideshare service in a big city, where there's a lot of clubs and stuff, you're picking up a lot of drunk people, and a lot of times they're probably going to either piss or yak in your car.
啊？这个啷个弄呢？这个车子上，啊，妹妹？啊？
Wow, so I saw it. So it looks like a little area liquid bottle. Liquid. Your butt is completely covered. Ooh.
哦，你们真的好，我你妈屁事！
你说嘛？
啥子？你给我打死了交人，我跑不成生意的了。我跟你说嘛，妈你别给我一坐啊，屁都浇死哈！啷个子你别我把死在车子上。
A taxi driver picked up a female passenger. After she got into the car, she calmly played on her phone. However, while waiting at a traffic light, the driver suddenly caught a whiff of an overpowering stench, a rancid odor of excrement that struck him like a blow to the head. Thinking that a nearby septic tank might be the culprit, he quickly shut all the windows, expecting the smell to dissipate, but once the windows were closed, the odor didn't lessen. Instead, it grew even more intense, feeling.
Yeah, see, a lot of people don't expect this. I mean, it was either shit or vomit, right? Wow.
That something was off. The driver inspected his shoes and clothes, yet found nothing unusual. He then asked the woman in the back seat if she noticed the foul smell, but she remained absorbed in her phone, giving no response. Growing more concerned, the driver cautiously inquired if she was feeling unwell. At that, her face turned as pale as chalk. Realizing the gravity of the situation, he immediately pulled over to the side of the road. The moment he opened the rear door, he was utterly distraught. After decades of driving a taxi, he thought, "I'm doomed. I might even die in this car." To his horror, he discovered that the stench was indeed coming from an actual lump of excrement. Despite the situation, the driver didn't harshly reprimand her. He simply asked how she would like to handle the mess. Still fixated on her phone, the woman eventually called her best friend to come over and clean up the poop.
What? Her friend had to come out and do that? And like I said, I guess he doesn't keep anything in his trunk, any kind of cleaning kits or anything. I mean, as a rideshare service driver, even a taxi. So this man is obviously a taxi, and I guess he's never encountered anything like this, but he should at least get some Clorox wipes in his trunk or something. You should keep like a case of water in the car and some Pine Sol or something to clean stuff up with, and some paper towels. Other than that, there's a spill magic kit too, where you pour powder on a mess and then it'll absorb. Wow, that's crazy. What's wrong with her eyes? That shit's scary, man. I hope that's AI. I hope that's an AI filter. I hope that's not makeup. Jesus.
上大了，不管再怎么急，只要旁边有人，我都只敢一点一点的释放。
I have pooping anxiety. Whenever I need to defecate in a public restroom, I force myself to release waste in tiny increments if others are nearby, specifically to avoid any audible farting noises. Earlier, during a desperate bathroom trip with people in adjacent stalls, I strained to hold back while letting out microscopic bits, terrified a toot might escape. When I finally thought they'd left, I relaxed. PFFT, but they were still there. A little girl blurted, "Mom, that fart sounded like a whoopee cushion." Her mother stifled giggles. I sat frozen, completely finished but scorched by humiliation, refusing to exit until their laughter faded down the hallway.
Today, I held in my shit all day because I'm an intern teacher at an elementary school, but I'm too embarrassed to shit in the students' toilet. The toilets here aren't full door stalls.
But it's like that in America too. In most public restrooms that have stalls, a lot of times the stalls don't touch the floor or the ceiling. They're like mid. So if you're like over 6'5", you could almost see the person next to you in the stall. Not like that you would want to look, but I always thought that was stupid. But I used to be like that when I was a kid. I used to refuse to take a dump at school unless I really, really, really had to. Like if I had a case of the runs, I would have to go to that school, but usually I didn't have to do that. Usually I was cool till I got home.
They only have half-height partitions. If I squat to shit and students see me when they walk in, it would be super awkward. There's also a toilet in the teacher's office, but I still won't use it because if my shit stinks too bad, the other teachers in the office will smell it, so I've been clenching my ass all day. Holding it in, this makes me remember when I was in junior high, the first week I started boarding school. In that completely new dorm environment, I didn't dare shit at all. You know how hard that first week was? I held in my shit for a whole week until I finally went home to let it out.
And that's how you end up with bowel issues. You're not supposed to do that. That causes constipation, intestinal issues. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend holding it in forever.
我现在在马桶上拉肚子，就是我们公司这个厕所，它真的是有点说法。
I'm currently sitting on the toilet having diarrhea. The problem is our company's bathroom has terrible soundproofing.
Well, most public restrooms don't have soundproofing. You're going to always hear. Sometime when you walk in the door, you can hear somebody taking a dump. You hear air and then you hear a droplet. Yeah. So there's a trick to that. I'm going to give you guys some game. If you feel like you're going to have an explosive bowel movement, what you do is, hopefully the toilet's loud enough, you flush the toilet and then you let it loose all at once. That's what a lot of people do. And then once the water fills back up, that's when they proceed again.
Let me show you. This door leads directly to our work desks. I'm in here with explosive diarrhea noises, while outside colleagues are typing loudly. Both sounds are completely clear. Every time I finish and walk out, I feel like I can't face my coworkers
Leave that coffee creamer alone, girl.
seriously. I'm too ashamed to look at them. This is so embarrassing. Really so embarrassing. Honestly, I don't dare poop at the office anymore.
男朋友带我去他家玩，前一天晚上我们半夜吃了很多羊肉烧烤，然后第二天下午才醒。
My boyfriend took me to his house to hang out the night before. We ate a huge amount of lamb skewers late at night, then we didn't wake up until the next afternoon. I desperately needed to poop. I had only used one bathroom at their house before, but he told me to use the other toilet this time. I felt awkward. I went to their squat toilet, in the middle of pooping with wild abandon. I thought, let me flush first. But the water couldn't flush it down. It was clogged because there was too much poop. At that moment, I wanted to die. Too bad they live on the first floor. No way to jump out. I panicked. I need to figure something out. I spotted a toilet brush nearby. I tried poking at it with the brush, but it wouldn't budge. There was just too much poop. My poop was kind of sticky, and the walls of the toilet bowl were coated with my mess. The toilet brush was also smeared with my poop. I muttered, "It's over."
And I'm sure we've all been there once. We went to somebody's house and we messed up their toilet, plugged it up, and we were too embarrassed to just act like we didn't do it. We just walk out. And then the next person that goes in there, hey, who did this? You get quiet because you were guilty and you were the one that did it.
Both the toilet and the brush are covered in my stinky business. What do I do? What do I do? Meanwhile, his family kept rushing me because they had to leave for a relative's dinner. His mom told my boyfriend to deal with it. I seriously considered sealing the door shut. No one could enter. After letting out a few agonized groans, I admitted defeat. I had no idea how to fix their toilet. He went in, gagging while cleaning up, and scolded me through his wretches.
我预怕大一开学之后，有些妹妹可能会卡在宿舍拉屎这一块，因为我当初第一周就是去教学楼里解决的，没好意思在宿舍拉。
I predict that after freshman orientation, some girls might struggle with using the dorm bathroom for bowel movements. Let me share my experience from when I was too embarrassed to poop in the dorm during my first week and had to use classroom building bathrooms instead. Here are my tips. The embarrassment mainly comes from two things: worrying about the smell, worrying about the noise. About the smell first, let's be clear. Everyone's poop smells bad. Mine stinks. There's stink too. Don't think you're the only one. To neutralize odors, you don't need special sprays. Just do this. After flushing normally, squeeze some shower gel or shampoo into the toilet. Flush again. This will eliminate most of the smell. Use minty or floral scents for best results. About the noise, you'll need different strategies depending on stool type. For diarrhea, the sound is a continuous bubbling noise. Turn up your phone volume and play a video/TV show to cover it.
Nah, I'm not bringing my phone in the bathroom. Sorry, baby girl. Nah. And some people do that, which I always thought was nasty. Why do you bring your phone with you to the toilet and you're at home? That's disgusting. And then a lot of you don't even wipe off your phones. Y'all got all kind of stuff on your phones because y'all take your phones everywhere with you. And y'all don't even clean it on the daily either. That's disgusting. I work in healthcare. I work in ICU. So I'm dealing with specimens. When the nurses draw the samples from the patients or phlebotomists, I usually run down the labs in the laboratory, so you know I gotta keep my stuff clean. At the end of the shift, I wipe everything off. Shoes, keys, cell phone mainly, Apple Watch. I ain't got it on right now, but yeah.
For solid poop, the main noise is the initial splash. Lay toilet paper on the water surface first to cushion the impact. If you're still worried, just say casually when leaving the bathroom, "Heads up, I just used the toilet and it's pretty smelly, maybe wait a bit before going in."
I truly underestimated the constipation that comes with pregnancy. I had heard people mention that pregnant women might get constipated, but I had no idea what it really meant. Now that I'm over 10 weeks pregnant, I'm experiencing it firsthand, and it's incredibly embarrassing. After I became constipated, I couldn't have a bowel movement, and I went about 3 days without pooping. Then one day, I desperately tried again, but nothing happened. I was squatting in the bathroom, feeling completely drained, as if the act of defecating had sapped all my strength, and I was sweating profusely. I kept wiping sweat off my face as I strained, yet the stool was right at the edge of my anus, almost ready to come out, but it just wouldn't budge. I even thought, if it's not coming out, maybe I should just stop trying, but the stool was already at the very edge. It wouldn't work if I just gave up. I even considered standing up and trying to jump a little to dislodge it, but then I realized I couldn't risk it because jumping might be harmful to my baby. I tried every method I could muster, but no matter what I did, I just couldn't get it out. I felt like I had used up every bit of my strength. I was completely weak, and yet I still couldn't poop. Do you know how it finally came out?
What's up with these filters though? These filters are just wild. Let alone their filters are better than ours. I'll give them that. And keep in mind that in most Asian countries, they have the squat toilets, so their toilets are basically in the ground.
My husband, wearing disposable gloves, had to help me pick it out. I never in my life imagined that my poop would have to be removed in such an intimate way.
Yeah, so for y'all that are itching and scratching and dying to get married, just remember what you're going to have to deal with when you get married. You just don't know.
Many women feel embarrassed when they need to poop in public. Although it is a normal part of life, the lack of privacy in public spaces can make this natural function a source of anxiety. In this article, we talk about a real-life incident in a taxi and explore the challenges women face in these situations, along with other angles for discussion. One day, a woman riding in a taxi found herself needing to poop urgently. She tried to hold it, but her body couldn't wait. In a desperate attempt to manage her embarrassment, she acted like nothing was wrong and pretended to be absorbed in her phone. However, the smell soon filled the small space, and the driver noticed. The driver asked her questions, trying to figure out the source of the odor, but she
just dropped a big one.
Avoided answering and continued to look at her phone. It was her way of coping, pretending it didn't happen. However, the driver eventually discovered the truth, leaving both parties in an incredibly awkward and uncomfortable situation. The taxi story is just one example of how embarrassing moments involving natural bodily functions can unfold. Here are some additional angles to consider. Society has created a stigma around women's natural bodily functions, making activities like pooping or farting seem taboo. This pressure forces women to go to great lengths to avoid being judged, such as
Look like something else is going on there. I want to keep this PG-13, but damn. Something's hopping off her butt.
Holding in their bowel movements or pretending nothing happened. As the woman in the taxi did, this stigma is reinforced by cultural expectations. That women should be clean or graceful, as if pooping contradicts those ideals. Why can't we accept that pooping is just as natural as eating or sleeping? Many women choose to hold in their poop when they are in public or uncomfortable settings. While this might avoid embarrassment in the moment, it can cause physical discomfort and even long-term health issues, such as constipation or bowel problems. The mental stress of constantly worrying about where and when to poop also takes a toll.
Yeah, and sometimes it can be embarrassing, even though it's natural. How would something natural be embarrassing? But, I mean, far as that, there's people that piss on themselves too. So you have pissing in your pants versus crapping in your pants. Both pretty embarrassing. The only difference is the piss goes all over the place. Because most likely you're going to empty out your bladder versus the poop, it'll splatter too. But it'll stay in a smaller area versus someone that's constantly just takes a large piss.
How can society create an environment where women feel more comfortable attending to their basic needs? In the taxi incident, the woman's tactic of pretending to be on her phone was a way to distract the driver and avoid confrontation, but when the smell revealed what happened, her strategy didn't work. Many women use similar coping mechanisms, such as turning on music to mask sounds or using air fresheners. But when these strategies fail,
air freshener on top of funk magnifies the stench of stank. That's like putting deodorant under musty ass armpits and you ain't washed your arms. It's just gonna magnify the smell before you put it on and make it worse. It's like not taking a shower but washing up, but the rest of your limbs and everything is soiled.
the embarrassment becomes even worse. Should we shift the focus from hiding accidents to normalizing them? One of the main reasons women feel so much stress about pooping in public is the poor design of public restrooms. Thin stall walls, gaps in doors, and shared spaces provide little privacy. In the taxi, the lack of space made the situation even more awkward. Could better restroom designs, soundproof stalls, or even better bathroom etiquette help women feel more at ease?
And guess what? None of these places are putting soundproof anything. You can't even get a soundproof apartment. So what makes you think you're going to get a soundproof bathroom? It's not even like that in America. Most public restrooms, there's no ceiling over the stall. It's just open. This is how the stalls are. The stall is between my bottom hand and the top hand. The floor and the ceiling is just left open. It's almost pointless. And yeah.
In the taxi incident, the driver reacted awkwardly but not harshly. He tried to understand the situation, though it was clear he was uncomfortable too. This raises an important point. How can we encourage empathy in situations like this? Instead of making people feel worse about accidents, society should foster understanding and kindness. A single empathetic response can turn an embarrassing moment into a lighter.
When we see it happen in school, we usually laugh the person out of school if they pissed on themselves or shitted on themselves. It's happened in classrooms several times with children. It might not, a lot of times people are unaware of it, but what's going to happen is when that kid comes back to school, they're going to be the laughing stock. So that's something to keep in mind too. And then for those of you that have school-age children, that's probably going to happen a time or two, and then they're going to get into fights because they're going to be made fun of for like the next 5 years because they pissed or shitted on themselves. Interesting. Anyways, it's Kyle Lavelle. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and notification bell. See you on the next video.